Hi Home Talkers, I'm Donna with Funky Junk Interiors, where I have been blogging about upcycle projects for nearly 20 years. Welcome to my workshop where it all begins. It's been such a pleasure sharing so many projects with Hometalk over the years, ranging from simple weekend projects to some pretty wild transformations. So today I have a treat. I thought I would share 5 of my favorite projects that all share one recipe. They need to function well, they need to look good and be easy to make. So let's start. For this project, I wanted to transform a painted dresser into one with a woodsy look, with some special twists. This one turned into a piece of art and also got the job done without stripping any paint. Don't like stripping paint? Gather up some yardsticks for this amazing wood look hack. The dresser holding a TV in my bedroom really needed a makeover. With chips in the paint and a painted drawer I gave up on stripping, I put my new brainstorm to work. The long overdue bulging drawers were emptied of memorabilia, which will find a new home. Then they were cleaned and removed. After taking down all the TV components from the top, I gave the dresser a good clean inside and out with hot soapy water, then allowed it to dry. Reaching for Coal Black by Fusion Mineral Paint, I used a small paintbrush to paint moldings and tighter areas. I like to get the paint on quickly, then use long end-to-end rolls for the smoothest finish possible. The hardware off the drawers were removed, then the drawer fronts were lightly sanded. After taping the sides of each drawer, the drawer fronts and sides up to the paint were painted in coal black as well. Remember my failed paint stripping attempt? Here's what I did instead. I arranged some cedar strips and yardsticks across the front of the drawers, taking note where I wanted the yardstick words positioned. Marking a line on one side of the boards, I cut the boards with a miter saw, then measured each drawer and cut the rest of the wood strips to fit. All the boards got a light sand, then were arranged on each drawer. Reaching for some heavy-duty glue sticks made for woodworking, I hot glued each strip onto the drawer fronts, working quickly before the glue cooled off. While I did love the raw wood look, I decided to paint the drawer fronts with Tough Coat by Fusion Mineral Paint. This product makes wood more wipeable and gives the wood tone a little more depth. To chime in with a rustic vibe, I selected random hardware pieces to attach to the drawer fronts for a unique twist. And my once very tired TV stand is now a wood look dresser that I didn't have to strip. I hope this inspires you to rethink an old dresser you don't want to strip and flip it into a woodsy wonder thanks to a few boards and yardsticks. Next up is my file cabinet tool organizer. I wanted some garden tools near the front of the house, but this stored so many more than I thought it would, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Search for an old file cabinet to try this fabulous storage hack. I first gave the file cabinet a good clean inside and out. While I waited for it to dry, I cleared the garden tool area by removing all the tools, sweeping the walls and floor, then washing down the walls and filling in any holes. The file cabinet was propped onto 2 boards, then painted in Fusion Mineral Paint's ash using a velour roller. I also painted a little wooden table I had on hand in the same color to create a little more extra storage for what I had in mind. A bundle of cedar strips was picked up from my local hardware store. 1 strip was used to measure the width of the cabinet, then I bundled about 5 at a time to cut all at once. Using a super heavy-duty hot glue stick meant for wood, I applied hot glue to the back side of 1 strip, then installed it along the top of the cabinet from left to right. Reaching for some hooks from a dollar store, I spray painted them black, then once dry, I straightened the hooks with pliers so they weren't so angled. The hooks were screwed along the top of the file cabinet directly onto the wood strips. Since the 2 rows of hooks were a bit too long side by side, I staggered them, which worked out great. After positioning the cabinet into place against the wall, I gathered a few longer reclaimed wood planks to create a wall protection cover. Measuring the highest point of the tallest tool, I raised the planks to at least that level, attaching them to the wall with screws arranged in a random style. I then loaded up all the hooks with my hand garden tools. The little black bench was used to house a weed bucket and crate filled with garden gloves. The wall shelf was restocked with all our car essentials. And my now totally revamped garage storage space is not only so much more organized, it looks like $1,000,000 too. Can you even believe that's a grubby old file cabinet underneath? The cabinet holds so many garden tools, which makes the perfect storage bin if your space needs to be condensed. These party tray stepping stones are absolutely wild. Everyone said they're going to break, but not only did they not break, they are outstanding. They are so thick, so beautiful, and they make the garden so much more functional without getting your feet dirty. You'll want to start saving those party-sized takeout containers when you see how easily they can help enhance your garden. I'm gathering 2 larger and 2 smaller party trays, then removing the lids. The trays are being dry fit on the ground of a small container vegetable garden where I think they will be perfect. I'm pouring a little olive oil into each pan, then spreading it around using some paper until the bottoms and a little along the sides are well coated. Reaching for some bagged concrete that dries overnight, I'm shoveling some into a 5-gallon bucket, then mixing it with water until I reach a thick pudding consistency. You'll want to be sure to wear eye, mouth, and hand protection for this step. You'll also want to be diligent to rinse the concrete off the tools in between using them so the concrete doesn't harden on them. I'm now adding some mixed concrete into the smaller trays, filling them up until they are full, then leveling the concrete with a small trowel. Next up, I'm mixing a larger batch of concrete to add to the larger trays, filling them up at least 2 to 3 inches thick, then troweling them smooth as well. In hindsight, I think a slightly wetter mix leaves you with a smoother finish when they are done. I am leaving the trays outdoors overnight to cure. The next day, the concrete looks really dry, so I'm testing a form by pulling away the sides to check. It looks good. I'm now removing all the trays by gently pulling on the sides of each tray, then flipping each concrete slab on top of my hand while gently setting them down onto some cardboard to protect them. I'm now brushing off any loose concrete that may be remaining while admiring all those impressive edge details. I also noticed that none of the trays cracked during removal, which means they are reusable if you wish to make more to match. Now each concrete stone is being positioned in the vegetable garden, then shuffled around until I decide exactly where I want each one to go. Once positioned, I'm placing a carpenter's level on top of each stone, then leveling them by scooping some soil underneath. And I am now the proud owner of a custom stepping stone garden path I can use to navigate right through my vegetable garden without stepping on any soil. More times than not, I'm generally barefoot when I check in on the garden, so this will come in handy keeping my feet much cleaner. However, it also keeps shoes cleaner too, especially when it happens to be raining. The stones are positioned perfectly and comfortably, so I don't have to make an effort to reach each one. I think the shapes make the garden look even more quaint and unique, so much more than simple round or square that you buy at stores. I hope this inspires you to consider collecting a few party trays to try making a few of your own stepping stones, since they are so easy to make. I am so smitten with this coat hook plant stand. Oh my goodness, it transformed a simple sitting area into one that invites you in. You want to sit down right away and enjoy, with a special way to emphasize what it's being used for. Today, I'm going to flip a super cool old coat hook into something really neat for a porch or patio. I have a really nice seating area in the backyard, but it's kind of boring and I don't want to drill anything into the stucco wall. So here's what I'm going to do instead. Since the stand had a few years of layered gunk on it, I gave it a good scrub along with 2 plant hanging brackets. I also used simple green cleaner, which helped to remove older grime. My original plans were to repaint this piece, but after looking at the 2-tone patina, I couldn't do it. So I'm going to work with what is, but I am going to protect it. The stand then got a gentle scuff sand to remove any rough edges while still protecting the original patina. I wanted the stand to have one more detail to chime in with my given theme. I reached for an old cheese crate lid that I had previously stained on one side. I stenciled on a cafe sign using Fusion Mineral Paint in coal black. However, any cute sign to suit your theme can be picked up from the dollar store or even Amazon. The brackets were also touched up where needed. I then removed 2 of the stand hooks on opposite sides, then screwed on the 2 plant stand hooks positioned at 2 different levels. The bottom of the stand was pre-drilled with holes on all 4 sides to make installation easier. I drilled a hole on top of the cafe sign, then attached it to one of the plant stand hooks with a screw. My sitting area then got a reshuffle to decide where to place everything. The stand was then attached to the wooden patio through the bottom holes. Then out came the plants. To further protect the stand, I painted on some outdoor weather protectant, then wiped off the excess where I knew it wouldn't stick. I also gave the front and back of the cafe sign a coat. I cannot believe how just a few added plants really made this outdoor sitting area so much more inviting. The height of the stand helped to stagger the plants, and the sign positively begs you to sit yourself down for a spell and enjoy a relaxing beverage while. I hope this inspires you to watch for old coat hook stands to make a cute plant stand with a sign of your own. Where would you put yours? This flower for my garden, made out of ceiling fan blades, turned out so unexpected, and that was thanks to using 2 different ceiling fan blades that gave them a really special 3D look. Don't throw out those old ceiling fan blades until you try this. After selecting some white ceiling fan blades, I arranged 2 different styles around the perimeter of a small wooden cutting board facing good side down. You can paint these fan blades any color you wish, but since I love white and neutrals, I'm going to keep them white because I like white flowers, especially daisies. Choosing the white side of 4 flat-laying blades, I pre-drilled holes on the backs, then attached them to the cutting board with screws. I then held the blades against the fence to pick the best spot to hang them. Flipping the works good side up, I inserted a screw in the middle of the cutting board, then attached the blades to the fence. Reaching for 4 other blades still attached to hardware, I attached them to the fence with screws in between the other blades, which gave them a really cool lifted effect. I then screwed some wide, black-headed screws around the perimeter of the cutting board. I nearly covered the entire cutting board with screws for added texture until I had a new brainstorm. Some twine was knotted to one screw, then I looped the twine from screw to screw, mimicking a string art project. I then snooped through my shed and found an old chunk of water hose. The hose was positioned at the head of the flower, then attached to the fence with a screw. I then looped the hose with some whimsical twists, eventually ending with the hose facing down as if it was growing from the ground. I made sure the curves were nice and smooth and that the screws didn't dig into the hose too tightly for a truly free-form look. I then reached for some other items that I felt may resemble interesting leaves. Some green license plates were attached randomly along the hose to complete the look. To finish things off, I reached for some wood protectant and painted any of the cut ceiling fan areas that may weather quickly. Then I arranged the cable reel potting bench with some herbs and pots to complete this whimsical garden area. The ceiling fan flower pops with interest and fun, creating such a unique eye grab. It emphasizes the garden theme while adding whimsy and charm. And I love how the license plate leaves marry the quirky coffee can graphics, adding color and interest. I hope this inspires you to pull out a few ceiling fan blades to create some whimsy in your own garden this summer.